Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. You see Ivan? See him?
Evan, he's traveling for work.
Okay.
He's in
Where?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
He's
Okay.
gonna go back to Clark.
Yeah, he didn't come here last week too. He traveled since last week.
No, just weekend.
Can you see? Okay, too small, right?
We
have.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
Well,
We can pass it around.
my glasses.
And Stephen, can you see the reading?
It is now I can.
Good.
Yeah. Yes. Just up a little bit. Yes, there it is.
Even my eyes, I could not see it, but too. Yeah, my eyesight. Yeah. It's better now.
Yes, much better.
Can you read? All right. Yeah. Let's start with you go ahead and Steve. Yeah, this one here, the importance of the first. Yeah.
The importance of the first turning of the Dharma wheel and the site where it took place are apparent from both textual sources and archaeological remains. In the 3rd century BCE, the great emperor Ashoka, a Buddhist convert, erected a stupa there and an inscribed column. Ashoka's inscription, the so-called Schism Edict, commemorated the scene of the Buddha's first teaching with a reminder to the members of the Buddhist community, the Sangha, of the importance of unity and prescribed expulsion of those who sowed seeds of dissensions. I believe that they're trying to say that I believe that is the site of where Buddha, I believe, wasn't that the same location as we read last week? I believe he attained enlightenment and started his teaching right at that moment, and they just thought that that is just of a significant importance that they put up a statue to remind all of us, I guess as lay Buddhists, we're learning to remember all of that. So, more about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's normal, right? So when a founder or leader passes away, everything would be disintegrate, right? So it's normal. So after the Buddha passed away, 3 months after that, so we have the first Buddhist council, and it convened by the 500 Arhat, the holy monks. According to legend, they have to fly through the cave. For normal people cannot go through there. Only the one who have the sacred power to fly through the cave. That's legend. We don't know. So the second council is to start around 100 years after Buddha passed away. Some minor dispute among the Buddhist Sanghas, the Buddhist monk. And this one is the third one, during the King Ashoka in the 3rd century. So he convened 1,000 holy monks again to decide. That's the 3rd Buddhist council to decide Buddha's name. And some portion of the sutra, the Buddha teaching, was written on the pillar. Not all. Yeah. But so of course he expelled. That means he kicked out all the monks that have some kind of argument with that 1,000. So that is great more schism among the Sangha. And by the 1st century BC, officially the Buddha teaching was written not in India but in Sri Lanka, in Pali. During this time, during the 3rd century BC, Ashoka used Sanskrit. So he used, but they didn't record much of the teaching, but officially the 1st century BC. Yeah, and he put many edit, including this schism edit there. Yeah, this one here. Okay. Yeah. Oh, can you can you see
Let's see.
this one here?
The
It's
important-
too here. This one here.
Oh.
Too small for you.
Can you make it any bigger?
All right. That time is small. It's okay. Yeah.
I won't monastery near Ulan. The Golden Dharma wheel and two Buddhas symbolize Buddha's first act of teaching revered Sarn and are characteristic composed in the Buddhist tradition, which was influential across Central and Northeast Asia. A sculpted wheel has become a common symbol of the Buddhist tradition, and in ancient India, a wheel could represent the sovereignty of the figure of a wheel is also said to have appeared on the soles of the Buddhist feet, while many early examples of Buddhist wheels show a multitude of spokes. Contemporary feet often symbolize the eightfold.
Right here. Yeah, most of the time. Right here. Right. So the 2 years, right, represent the first time that Buddha will get the teaching at the park. And this wheel, right, represent the eightfold paths. Yeah.
I wonder why the deer's heads don't.
What's that?
I wonder why the deer's heads don't match.
So, yeah, one of those nail.
We don't know. One male, one female, right? Yeah.
Or it looks like maybe that one has. Maybe it's like- no, maybe it's-
Yeah, most on the top of most the band, this temple they have this.
Or do they?
No, you're
do
right.
they have different?
It has an antler.
Yeah,
It's a
most of
different color.
yeah. On the top of
It's-
the
But it is, it does look different though, right?
yeah, but it's similar figures, similar idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but, I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of like reason, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Let reduces. Okay. Yeah. This one Sangha. Yeah. Oh, you can read from the book, right? Okay. Yeah. The 2 power up is yeah.
The 5 ascetics who received the Buddha's first teaching after his enlightenment, and who requested permission to go forth as ordained followers, became the first members of the Sangha. Thus, the nucleus of the Buddhist monastic community was actually comprised of men who had already withdrawn from society and had been living for years as wandering individuals.
Okay, that's enough. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just talking about the first, the first 5 students that were. Do I remember the story correctly that they had been ascetics with the Buddha beforehand?
But they walk away from him after he received the rice soup from a young lady because they thought that he gave up the practice spiritually, but he just decided to go middle way, not to indulge himself, not to torture himself. Yeah. So we talk about this, right? In India, right? They advocate for the men. The idea is that when they get older, so when they're young, they have families, they build the wealth, and so forth. But when they get older, they let go of everything to seek for a spiritual path. That's the whole idea. That's why they are respected in India when they go out to beg for food. But when Buddhism even spread to China, they don't even they don't accept that idea. because it's considered as beggar.
Yeah.
But in India, it is a spiritual tradition. Yeah. So for someone who who let go of their wealth to become mendicant. Yeah. Yeah, please.
You have heard this initial formation from the Buddha inspired wealthy and prosperous
Yes.
person, Yasha, who, much like the Buddha before his own renunciation, had an experience of delusion and with sensual pleasures, still gave him the bodies of them. Yashas was so distraught that he fled into the forest this night where he unexpectedly met the Buddha. The Buddha taught him and Yashas gained considerable insight into the Dharma, but it did not actually request information. The next morning, Yasha's father searched for his missing son, and the Buddha used his marvelous powers to hide Yasha from his father's sight. While the Buddha instructed the father, Yasha gained enlightenment through the Dharma. Yasha's father became a male lay follower of the Buddha, one who recited the triple refuge because the third refuge, Sangha, had now been established, and the Buddha allowed him to see the who had been seated in front of him. That's fascinating that Yasha's, like, in one day became enlightened. And his father doing.
Mm. Mm.
He was the one that looked at all the beautiful women and he was like so grossed out. because of
Yeah,
all the
oh,
Sing,
ladies
yeah,
and
uh-huh.
all the different-
Oh,
Yeah, we read
Yeah.
that little bit about that.
I remember that part. I thought it was.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think it's like kind of a repeated.
Yeah, this
Maybe
is.
it's- Well, because,
Mm.
well, yeah, it's because,
I know.
broken
Humanity.
down the non-self world, just, they could finally do it.
Mm. So that's why. So after he established the Sangha the monastics communities. So whoever want to become Buddhist should take refuge Buddha. The Dharma has been his teaching,
Yeah.
and the Sangha has been the monastics communities. Yeah. Yeah. Anand, how you been, Anand? Yeah. So are you at home, Anand?
I just dropped my son off at the Taekwondo as
Oh,
usual.
really? He practiced
Yep.
Taekwondo?
Yep, he do that every 3 days a week. So
Oh,
Friday,
really?
Saturday, and then Wednesday.
Yeah, we miss him then. It's been for a while. We miss him.
Yep. Yeah, he's a teenager now, so he's has his own mind.
Mhm. Yeah. And Stephen, can you read next, please?
Yes, no problem. Recognizing that his son could not revert to lay life, Yasa's father invited the Buddha to his home to receive alms, attended by Yasas. When they arrived, the Buddha taught Yasa's mother, who was the first woman to recite the triple refuge and become a female lay follower. 4 of Yasa's wealthy young friends arrived, heard the Buddha's teaching, and were ordained, becoming arhants as well. Finally, word spread, and 50 more friends came to see the Buddha, received ordination, and quickly gained nirvana. The Buddha sent these 60 enlightened men out to spread the teaching and saying, travel forth, monks, for the benefit of the many, for the happiness of the many, out of compassion for the world, for the well-being, benefit, and happiness of gods and humans. Two should not go together. Teach, monks, the Dharma which is delightful from beginning to end. This here, I believe, is just the part to where part of that book we read once about the Buddhist there, in a way where his teaching was gaining more popularity, and of course more and more just normal people was going both ways. Some were going in more deeply and becoming arhants, and of course the other one just stay as a lay practitioner. So Mofate.
Mm. So for, let's say, for first 12 years, the Buddha accept Buddhist monks and nuns orally. He didn't establish any kind of ordination yet, because most of them, all of them are pure. They have pure mind to become Buddhist monks and nuns. So they would not create any kind of bad problems.
They were already pretty advanced. They were, these
More
aren't
advanced
just people
spiritually.
off the streets. They were, yeah.
They more spiritual advanced. But later on, because Buddha accept everyone, so that's why that's the problem. That's why he laid out the rules, and he laid out those couple of precepts and established what called ordination of this monk. So here in this case, that's Buddha accept the first city enlightenment. So say, okay, go. Don't two men won't go together, one path to go everywhere for the sake of sentient beings to teach them. Yeah, that's why they met Sariputra. You know that story, don't right?
I did.
They don't.
Well, I just had a discussion with Bante Sobiano. Anyways, about when the Buddha and met Sariputra and Nirvana, how they had right away, was it the attainment or the realization of impermanence?
Actually, no. Sariputra met not the Buddha, met one of the first 5 monks.
Okay.
On the street.
Oh yeah, on the street, and but it was like right then and there he was able to make this attainment. But this was karma of lifetimes.
Yeah.
That coming to fruition. It's not that there's a chance of any of us.
Not overnight.
We walk up and it's like, oh, I get it.
Most of them who ever met the Buddha first, they have all kind of connection with him since limitless past life, from one lifetime to others, not overnight. And for us too, we have some kind of connection while we're here. It's not overnight. It's not constant. Right, Stephen, you follow Stephen?
Yes, Mofate.
That's not constant, right? Anand, do you mind to read, or are you busy? Oh, okay. Oh, you can read now, please.
While tradition suggests that the earliest followers were from socially prominent families, the Sangha attracted people from all levels of society. In principle, the early Sangha was open to all men, although the Vinaya discipline describes the Buddha gradually excluding various groups such as debtors, criminals, deserters, and those with physical deformity. This seems to reflect his concern to avoid criticism of the movement, which was dependent upon support from the laity for its material needs and for recruiting future generations. As community began to accept younger men, a twofold ordination developed, with the boys entering the community as novices under the guidance of monastic preceptors, and men older than 19 eligible for full ordination as bhikshus, subject to the full discipline defined in the So yeah, you can't become a monk or a nun to just try to escape the law. You can't do it to try to escape your debt. And the reason they didn't accept physical deformities is kind of like the same as pregnant women, because it just become a liability. But financial or just a, yeah, anyway.
Mm.
And, other than that, and yeah, just because he wanted that it seemed peaceful and
So after his enlightenment, he went back to his city and accept the royal people to join with the Sangha, including even his dear son. At that time, he was only 6 or 7 years old. So that he was Rahula. He was the first Buddhist novice. And so his father, the King Suddhodana, say, "Wow, you left the palace. Now you took my grandson away me. So who will take care of the country then? So please, I have one request. In the future, if you want to ordain, especially the young one, please ask parent permission." Yeah, the Buddha say yes. But this is honorable tradition, especially like we showed that last time, right? In Burma, Thailand, Sri Lanka, even in Vietnam too, is many Buddhist young novices. Yeah, and so the Buddha accept everyone except debtor, criminals, deserter, right, with physical deformities. It's just common sense. Common sense, and otherwise it's be the mess. But from time to time, some of them became Buddhist monks without disclose themselves. And actually, there's one funny story that only human can take ordination as monk and nun, not animals. But there was funny story that a dragon want to become a Buddhist monk. Yes, so he appeared himself as a young man. So of course he went through all the process of ordination. But when they somehow he fall asleep, when they fall asleep, somehow he appear. So I was scared. All the monks scared, and somehow
so they had to make.
yeah, that's why the bedroom said no way for you to become Buddhist monk. Only you have human body. That's why it's so important. Yeah. Okay. Anand, are you driving, Anand?
Yes, I am driving. I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah.
I can hear everything very well.
Yeah, and Stephen, you can hear well, right?
Yes.
Here, see that this is the monk in the Theravada tradition. They they carry the bowl every. We show the clip, right? Every morning, from morning to noon, they carry the bowl to walk around with barefoot. Yeah, most of them walk barefoot. To beg for food, and that's the way they can interact with the lay people. Mm. Mm. But here again, they can go to Thai restaurant. That's all.
Yeah, so the old monk that we have staying with us in Nashville decided he wanted to go out on palms by himself, walking around and walk down Manslick Road the other day.
Oh man, like he went.
Really?
So, yeah,
He got anything?
No, I got a phone call to not let him do that anymore.
People would not know what to do, right?
In the late 70s and
He got used of
cold
that.
and traffic.
Yeah, people did
So,
not know what to
yeah,
do.
and they got
Yeah, it's better it's made arrangement, right? Mhm. That's right. That's why I told you the story of the old monk, right, from Virginia. He wanted to come here. He called and they say sorry, you better cook. We have this easy. We have the rice cooker, right? Get plug in. It's easy. That's all. Why we need to wait to bother people? But they follow that tradition. No. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, please.
After the Sangha had been in existence for 5 years, the Buddha's aunt and foster mother, Maharaja approached him seeking to join the Sangha. Traditional accounts report that the Buddha initially refused, but relented when his close attendant Ananda intervened on her behalf, and the nuns agreed to 8 additional rules that subordinated their community to the Islam. These accounts unequivocally affirm that women are fully capable of attaining nirvana. The Buddha's initial resistance appears to reflect a concern to ensure lay support and to avoid complications resulting from groups of male and female renunciants living close proximity. I read something, I think it was from maybe a really conservative one. But that was a very, very specific rule about the interaction between the males.
But actually, the non tradition, the non lineage in the Theravada tradition died out for 1,000 years. There's pure talk. Imagine.
I've only ever met one Theravada.
But they get devised later on in the 20th century, but they died out for more than.
But I mean, even still, this day in this country, where where things are quite a bit more advanced, still, you would think as many as I've ever met or contacted with.
But imagine, we talked before, right? Imagine that for men to walk at night or walk by themselves or along the road, the street, the forest, that's okay. But a woman, that's dangerous. That's why it died out for 1,000 years. This is really tough. Yeah, especially they're supposed to go out to beg for food. There's a lot of incident about that. This is not easy. But for the Mahayana one, because all of them stay in the monastery, it's more safe for them. They don't need to go out. That's why it's more safe. Yeah. And again, at first we discussed before, the Buddha asked that to accept the woman to this side because of the mainly I think social taboo in those times. And actually, yeah, one last nunnery I told you, right, in Houston, that's big, that one by the nun by themselves. Yeah. Okay, please.
The Sangha's original peripatetic.
Oh no, the Sangha. Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Yes, yes.
Lifestyle also gradually shifted to a more settled mode of life as lay donors established permanent monastic residences and local communities of Buddhist monastics developed reciprocal relationships with particular lay communities. The ideals of solitude and complete isolation from societal ties lived on in the Sangha, but only a minority of monastics adhered to them as the Buddhist movement became better established.
Traveling from place to place, in particular working or based in various places. So they're just traveling. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a big word.
Yeah.
What is that?
Moving from place to place is very.
Yeah.
Didn't know that word.
Nomadic.
Yeah. So it's kind of like what you were talking about, the move into monasteries and stuff.
Yeah. At first they move out, right? But later on, the lay people offer the land, the build the monastery, so they sell that. Yeah, they sell them more. Yeah. But especially in Thailand, they have what you call the forest, right? You know, the forest position,
Yeah.
the forest movement. Yeah, they respect them more because the monk go to forest to do the practice than the one that stay in the city
That's a tough
at the
life.
top life. Yeah, top life. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. And also it's not easy, for them to stay in mountain in the forest by themselves. They have to deal with the nature. They have to deal with all kind of wild animals out there. You imagine even in the city, imagine just if we sleep outdoor here. Of course here is too cold. But even in the summertime,
It still gets cold and it still
Yeah.
rains and there's
the rain,
monsoon.
mosquito, the bug, and so forth. Yeah, they have to do those kind of nature challenging. Yeah. Not easy. Yeah.
Even some of those, I don't know, they call it monastery, I don't know what they call it, where they're in the forest and it's just, they live in pretty much a bamboo hut and it's have some, they don't really have anything to sleep on, it's more or less just a sheet and then they fold up their sheet and everything all there.
Have you done camping before?
Mhm.
Where? No,
She doesn't like.
you don't like it.
I
Oh, really?
Yeah, like door
Mm.
plumbing, that's my favorite.
Mm. Oh, Daniel. Mm. Okay, Daniel, just wait for me, okay? All right, just wait, okay?
Dạ.
He's too young. Stay
Ồ,
first.
chắc tới sớm.
Yeah.
Chắc thầy cũng mới tới sớm rồi.
Yeah. Okay, con. That's all. And Stephen, yeah, you've been out camping before, right? And Stephen, you enjoy camping?
No, I have not actual camping before. The weirdest thing is I enjoy hiking and a few outdoor stuff, but physical camping I have not, no.
No. Yeah. Anand, you been camping before, Anand?
Yes, I've been to many times.
Yeah,
And I
you
used to,
enjoy.
yeah, I think so. I like the nature. I like the hiking and also the sleeping at night. Go back to the nature, cooking and fireworks, and go look for fireworks and live in a tent. Sit around and talk about things about life, away from all the hustling and bustling of the city life. Yeah, I think it's a rarely do we typically able to sit in a place where it's completely quiet and no lights and you can see the sky clearly, with able to see the stars. So I think that's a unique experience. And it brings back a lot of memory for me when I was a young kid in Vietnam, when I was in my grandparents in the countryside.
You like the nature?
I grew up with lots of camping. I've done, when I was 18, I biked across East Africa by myself.
Really? By
So-
yourself? When you
Yeah.
were teen?
18.
18.
It was like days after I graduated high school. I
Wow.
went to East Africa and rode my bike. Anyway, so I have done some pretty intense levels of camping. I've been caught like some pretty extreme weather where we were this wasn't in Africa, actually this was here, but I've been caught in like tornadoes. I have been caught in extreme weather, but boats. I love, of course. I'm a nature.
Wow, that's wonderful then.
Love nature and love hiking, going outside, bonfires, cooking outside, selling bed.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the sink and you do this and water comes out. You flush the toilet.
So in high school, instead of taking a language class, I got to go to German camp so this was in
Sounds scary.
Yeah, well, in northern Minnesota, and we stayed on the lake, And we weren't allowed to speak English. We weren't allowed to have anything with us that had English writing on it. And so we just, lived out there had to wash in the lake and pick up the leeches after we were done. But anyway, so I didn't have to take any foreign language in high school.
Really?
German, did you actually learn it or?
Well, so the
Very
cheating part,
leeches.
the cheating part is my name, Kirsten Kruska. I might be from a German family.
Yeah.
Could you speak some?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do speak fluently?
Well, now it's really rough because I don't practice it. Of course, I understand it well. I read it. Reading is the easiest for me, and so all my cousins we still communicate. And my brother doesn't really speak much English. So I mean, he speaks English, but it's
Yeah.
German.
Really?
Yeah, we still have a place in court, and you and whoever want to could come up there and do meditation. We still have that place there for personal cultivation. Yeah, that's why I choose that place. It's more quiet. You will not hear any sound of the cars.
Yeah.
It's so quiet,
It's
so
very nice.
peaceful, so calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in Buddha Hall,
Mhm.
the time, the ideal month is from early April to early June. That 2 months is perfect. Not too cold, not too hot.
Oh yeah.
And from I think probably mid of September,
Yeah.
mid of September
Okay.
to early November. Yeah, that's not too cold, not too hot. This is be ideal to sit up there. Otherwise, too cold now, or too hot. Yeah. Okay, so let's just move on then. So Daniel, okay, wait for the young one, okay, Daniel. Good.
Yeah, more for time.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. See the final. Is it? Yes, your turn at least. The final.
Events during the 45-year period from the Buddha's enlightenment and establishment of the Sangha up to his death are represented in early canonical sources, mostly by unconnected individual dialogues between the Buddha and his followers. Canonical sources do, however, preserve a lengthy biographical account of the weeks leading up to his final nirvana, or great final nirvana, Mahaparinirvana, an event that marked both the ultimate completion of his own quest for total liberation from samsara and a crucial moment in the life of this community. So all we know is sort of pieced together and disparate sources.
Yeah, so he taught for 45 years, and after that he passed away. We don't call it passed away. He ended nirvana, great nirvana. Here, this is a story how he passed away.
Buddhist tradition embodies fundamental tension concerning the Buddha's role and his followers on Buddhist practice. On the one hand, the Buddha teaching expresses that everyone must realize and inform herself. The Buddha can only come, which he does through his teaching. On the other hand, the tradition also celebrates the extraordinary efficacy of personal insight. So, yeah, that is one thing that truly with Buddhism is that everybody has to figure it all out for themselves. Through the teaching. But I do enjoy the stories of the personal encounters with the Buddha. They're always very fascinating, like magical stories.
Yeah, especially
powers.
Especially in high tradition, there's
Yes.
many miracle, right? We
Yeah.
talk about that, right? So it is a sort of inspiration for us to learn, but mainly even in daily life, right? even let's say even you spouse, but you need to work hard by yourself, and she support your wife, and also vice versa. So everyone have to put a lot of effort by ourselves. Other people just support us. That's the whole idea of the Buddhist view. All right, and let's see, and Stephen, please.
As the richness of Buddhist art attests, truth in the abstract is of less use to suffering beings than truth embodied and accessible through the.
Let me see which part. Oh, okay, let me go over here. So they keep it big so that they can read. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Through the senses. The accounts of the Buddha's death vividly illustrates this point. Ananda figures prominently in these final scenes, and he provides a kind of emotional center to the narrative, for he had been the Buddha's personal servant for 25 years, but had not himself realized nirvana. When the Buddha heard that Ananda was weeping at the prospect of his death, he took him aside and recalled Ananda's countless acts of loving kindness toward him, assuring Ananda that he would soon gain enlightenment. Continue. Oh. It is recorded that the Buddha died.
No, that's okay. You can summarize that part first. You can, yeah, go ahead, please. Yeah.
I believe that one was pretty much stating up to the Buddha's end before he passed. How Ananda, I believe, was just serving him for over the years, but at the same time, the reason I believe Ananda hasn't reached enlightenment because he was kind of still attached to Buddha as a living human being. So that's why he was, basically weeping and of sadness and kind of hard to let Buddha go. So, and I think the point was Buddha was just basically trying to explain to him that eventually Ananda will understand to loving kindness is good, but also understand how to let go. Let someone go, your loved one, anybody, in order for you to gain enlightenment. Most often.
Yeah. And then you still driving, right? And then.
Yes, I hear everything.
Yeah, please.
It is recorded that the Buddha died in food poisoning after a fine meal offered by the blacksmith. Knowing that the food he was about to consume was deadly, the Buddha made sure that no one else ate it. He contracted acute dysentery, but overcame the pain and traveled on. Finally, outside the town of Kuchingaya, he lay down on his right side between two shallow trees, his head facing north. Withdrawing into himself, he ascended through successive levels of profound meditative trance and finally passed away. At that moment, it is said, the entire universe shook.
Okay.
He ate poison food. He didn't eat it, but he also knew that it was his time to go. Apparently, he was in a lot of physical pain. He went down on his side, and that's when he always sees that Buddha on his place.
I used to ask my student when we talk about this. Let's say if someone prepare for you your last meal, how you feel, or if someone offer you a last meal, would you dare to take? Of course, no one, right? No one, right? But for Buddha, he knew that this time him to go, so he accept, and also he praised this man, the blacksmith who offered his last meal, the same merit that the first the same merit as this the same merit that he got as the first lady, the one that the young lady that offered him the rice
But
meal.
he didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the point.
He didn't know.
He
There's no
didn't know.
intention.
He didn't know. He just offered the Buddha with his sincerity.
Mhm.
He didn't have intention to kill Buddha. That's a different story. Yeah, that's why Buddha praised him. So that's why he said, okay, don't worry. You have great merit as same as the first young lady that offered me the meal. Yeah, because he offered with his sincerity. But the Buddha accept that and my other monk would not, that they not supposed to take that meal. But that is for us here, right? For probably no one there to take the last meal, right? No way. And he would not.
Unless, I mean, there's some older people that are very much have like really made peace with life ending, and I think that, whatever it was, like in my mind, I think of someone like Ram Dass, like how he so like gracefully welcomed his own death. And he's just a well-known person. I'm sure there are lots of other people that gracefully walk into that and say, okay, whatever it is that's.
We talk about that, right? The doctor anesthesia, right?
The euthanasia. Yeah.
Yeah, what's it called?
Yeah, euthanasia.
Euthanasia doctor, right?
Yeah.
In
Doctor
assistant death, right? Some state they pass that law, right? In California.
I think in Washington.
Washington. Especially for the one that's so painful, right?
Yeah.
The last day of their life so painful they can handle. That's different story. Yeah, but for the wealthy and healthy one, they would not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that even again he didn't blame on this last myth. He didn't score of that last myth took his life away, but he greatly praised him because of his sincere mind. Yeah. And so, but you see that the life is so peaceful. He really accepts everything that happened to him without fighting. That's the important thing there. And also, there's some legend. It say that 3 months before the Buddha passed away, the Buddha gave Ananda the hint. Okay, I can prolong my life for a kalpa. The kalpa is about few million years. So, but somehow Mara, remember we talked about Mara, the dead king. So somehow he used sacred power to cover the wisdom of Ananda. So he didn't request the Buddha prolong or expand the lifespan. But so after that, Mara came and said, "Please, Buddha, enter Nirvana, because that's what you promised me." Because right after Buddha attained enlightenment, this Mara, the dead king, came and said, "Please, Buddha, enter Nirvana." Buddha said, "No, I have not had any disciple yet, so I can't until my disciple, my followers, are mature in the spiritual path, until they can teach my teaching, I can carry on my teaching, and so forth. I can pass away until I have four group of students." Like Buddhist monk, non laymen, and laywomen. As much as they all, most of them or some of them could take over my parts, I could enter in Nirvana. That first, according to legend. But now, after 45 years of teaching, so he has many great students already, many disciples, many holy monks, nuns, and so forth. So this Mara came back and asked, "Please keep your promise to enter Nirvana." Yeah, so he will say, "Yes, I will." So after that, he released his sacred power to extend the lifespan. That's one of the story. You like to read that? It's more than 3,000 pages.
Yeah.
You like to read that those detailed information?
Yeah, it's taken a long time.
But you can learn more detail if you want to. Yeah, explain about the first 20 years of Buddha teaching, but later on they just summarize. But there's many interesting story. Yeah. Okay, so that's why here the Buddha passed away in Kushina. Kushina is again one of the the place that the Buddha passed away, and the people come there. All right. Is that? And his turn, your turn, right? All right, please.
The
Yeah.
Buddha's final words were all convincing and fascinating. Very long words for the long religion. These words highlight both the inevitability of death, even for perfectly being, and the importance of self-discipline and self-reliance. In short, the Buddhist told his followers, you are on your own. And yet, things are not so simple. For an earlier passage describes the Buddha giving detailed instructions for creating his body and preserving his corporeal needs, as they say both enlightenment and doctrinal and body king. His relics were to be enshrined in relic monuments because they were situated in public. Moreover, the Buddha, in another passage, encourages the practice of visiting the four places associated with his birth, enlightenment, first teaching, and death. While the Buddha himself may no longer be directly available to followers, his liberating presence continues to be manifested in the first material form through his recollected words of instruction, contact with pilgrimage sites, and material objects that mediate his presence, whether by virtue or a direct physical connection as a corporeal relic in physical. So even after death, he said you're on your own, but then there's all these things left over for him teaching and relics.
And he mentioned that for the Buddhists, it's better for them to visit the four places, right? That associated with his birth, right? Lumini, enlightenment, Bodhigaya. First teaching is Sanat, and the last one is Kushinara. Let me type this tree there.
Did you see that? Did you see the article I tried
Yes.
emailing you? There's another one I need to forward. It explains the studies a little better. So there's at the University of Virginia, there is a scientist that has conducted all these studies about reincarnation.
Oh.
The parameters of these studies it's just mind. So maybe for him to do the rest of it, but it's pretty interesting, like the way they would go. So these children that were supposedly remembered past lives, and we're talking, they got thousands of these kids documented, and what it was that they had to pass to even get to this point. But they went back and like would research the places that these kids would be from. They would collect the data about the places that these kids claim these past lives, and then they would have the parents ask these kids the questions, and the level of accuracy is
yeah. This one is the four places. This one the place Bodhigaya. Yeah. With that enlightenment, this is a place where the Buddha was born, and this is a place where the Buddha first taught, and this is Kushinara where he passed away. Have you seen the real Buddhist were read before?
I've heard of them, but not.
Yeah, this one is the relic here. Yeah, it's so special. It's so special that actually I put one article on the Facebook too. It's like the diamond. The view one is that diamond. Nothing can smash the Buddha relic. They're so solid. Yeah. Yeah, for the Buddhists, they worship about this kind of relic. It's pure rare. This is the finger. Buddha tooth still growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is here, and this is in I think in Sri Lanka. Have you been in Sri Lanka before?
No, they're all trying to get you to go.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Anyway, so and Stephen, have you seen any Buddha relic before?
No, I have not taken.
Never. Huh? And Nan, have you seen them before, Nan?
I have not seen it, but I heard people talk about relics. So sometimes I'm a skeptic. Sometimes in the U.S. So I'm not sure are they really relic, or how could Buddha have that many parts over 26,000 years? I mean 2,600 years that we still have that many relics around. And I'm always curious, and when we have these relics, how is there? It's hard to say for me to explain. Like, is that a documentation? Is a proof? Is what I'm saying? To signify these are the official, and these are the only 4, 5, 10 locations that have the official real relics of Buddha that left behind from 2,600 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know that, so I'm just kind of curious because I know I was involved with one time when I was asked to help Joanne Lack, right, to from the airport with the so-called bring relics to the temple. I said, well, I involved, but I didn't know that is that at that time I didn't know much about it. So I said, okay, but relics seem to be very sacred and very rare, So I wasn't sure that term relics in Buddhism. What are the things that are considered relics? Actually remains items of Buddha.
So it's based according to even historical record. They said that after they cremate the Buddha body, so the king of that country, the country that Buddha passed away, want to take everything. But the other kings, other neighbor kings, they want to fight. So in total, 8 of them. So one Brahmin, not Buddhist monk, one Brahmin step up and say, well, during the Buddha times, when he was alive, he always taught compassion and non-violence. How could you guys fight for his religion? Let's go against his teaching, the fighting, the violent one. So everyone agree that he divide the Buddha relic at first for the 8 portions. So each small country, each kingdom got a portion of the Buddha relic, in total 8. And later on, when Ashoka unified India, so he collect everything and he divide in piece. It's called 84,000, but 84,000 in Buddhist view is many, uncountable. So it's spread everywhere. And even nowadays, later on, if you visit India, you can visit I think they call New Delhi Museum. They still keep the Buddha view relic inside there. It's so sacred. Yeah, of course, for the other one, the one that carry around, we don't know whether it's true or not. But especially in Sri Lanka, they still keep the Buddha. This one, I think, tooth relic in Sri Lanka. That's a national treasury. National treasure. Every year, once per year, they open the casket and bring out for the public to celebrate. That national treasure. Okay, so
I have
thank
a
you.
question.
Yes, and then
I have a question. Again, when you talk through this, I remember a story when Buddha, when he passed away, I mean, he told us that take my teaching as what is it remaining as your guidance, right?
yes.
Rather than take me and my body or whatever that you're trying to hang on to be your teaching. So at that time when he passed away, and let's say he was when you saw till cremate, then why would at that time when all his holy disciple are so enlightened, why would they start to hang on to those relics or those items?
No,
Right?
here.
You know what I'm saying? At that point in time.
Here, this deal with the lay people, lay communities, right? So the king or the group of prince of that country, the country that the Buddha passed away, they try to get everything. Now here there's not Buddhist monk, no, they lay people. So they try to confiscate, they try to take all. But the other king, the other 7 kings from the neighbor kingdoms, they try to fight too. That's what the story about. That's why the Brahmin men step up and divide a portion. But for the Buddhist monks, yes, 3 months after the Buddha passed away, they convened that first Buddhist council to decide Buddha teaching is more important. So you have to understand, fighting for the rest is happened because of the lay people, not the Buddhist monk. All right, but for the Buddhist monk, yes, so the important thing is Buddha teaching. That's why they convened the first Buddhist council there, 3 months after the Buddha passed away. You clear, Nan?
Yep. Yes, thầy. Mô Phật thầy. Cảm ơn thầy.
Okay, so thank you. See you then. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.